I love Mondays and going live. You know what I do need to do though in my life is really update our Setmore calendar because on Mondays people can book meetings with me until like 10 a.m. and I'm clearly busy from 9 to 10. So that's cool. Dude,
Yeah,
I'm not a systems person. Like I am a change mind. Like I'm gonna do it this way, boom, I'm gonna change it. So Sparks is really good because she really helps me to like create systems. But I always have to tell clients like I'm really annoying and I don't know how Sparks works with me because I'm a terrible partner. I'm terrible. It's so bad. I just like make decisions and I'm like, well, that's how it's gonna be. I don't know what to tell you. So no, she's not gonna say that. She's like, no, that's legit.
yeah, we do. Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah, so Sparks and I have worked together for a couple of years now. Um, she was my co-founder, or no, my co-founder, my co-leader for Nexus when I ran my women's networking organization, which I still have, and it's an amazing group of women. And after spending some time in Florida this year, we joked around about working together and that we should work together. And we are like, oh, we'll do it in our 40s. We're doing it in our 40s. And then we very quickly decided that we should work together now because in the world of business development, there is this really like core place where people need more than just business development. So I can teach you how to cold email all day long, but if you don't have the self-confidence to do it, it's not going to make a shit bit of difference whether or not you ever actually do it. So I just walked to my car so I can charge my phone up. For my whole life. I'm just saying. So anyway, so Sparks and I decided to work together, and the I always joke that Sparks is the better half. What I do. Sorry. Hold on. I should not have lost audio. Have you still lost me? Um, and so Sparks is the better half in that space because she really makes all of the people really come together.
Yeah, I'm here. There, she's back.
I know. Have you lost me entirely? I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. She is the better half. She is the other half. So Sparks, break it down for us about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I am the other half of B3 Core and BBAS and Brilliant Brand. And what I do is I work with people to help switch their mindset, to help them build more confidence. And primarily I help them unpeel the layers that society has put on them, all those expectations and obligations that they think they have to other people, and sort of peel those away so that they can discover who they truly are and start living their life from that inner space. Because ultimately, that's the direction that we all would want to strive to go in if we want to live a stress-free life and have more confidence and not second guess and question ourselves all the time. Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I just talked to a client this morning about, which mind you, I also came onto the car to look for my headphones so that I'm not louder than everyone else, but I can't find them, so I don't know where they are. I was talking to a client this morning, right, where she's like, I have this hat, I own a construction company, and then I also own this is not true, so I'm like making it up, a bookstore, online bookstore, and I own a business where I consult people on security, right? So she has all three of these different hats, and what ends up happening is that people don't know, A, how to refer you, B, you don't like any of your clients, and C, you really struggle with the ability to identify who you are as a brand and where you're going with that branding. And if people don't know how to refer to you or who to refer to you, then you're losing an entire touch point of your client. And that's what happens when people get in on the wrong, that's what it looks like. So if you're trying to think like, what does that look like when Joey talks about not liking your clients or getting into a business that isn't a good fit for you? Know that looks like you having 3 or 4 different boats that you're trying to row all the time at the same time. You're not making any money in any of them. And if you're doing that, we need a phone call because we can help you to kind of eliminate that out and really focus on what has the highest cost to profit ratio, which most people have no idea what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I, I've been a life coach now for about a little over 4 years. And prior to that, I completed my master's in counseling psychology, which included some courses on life coaching as well as the practicum on life coaching. And I started working in that capacity with people then. But honestly, my life experience has contributed a lot to my knowledge, if you will, because I did come from a space of I was the best employee. I was very much a people pleaser. I was the last person on my list in terms of considering what I really wanted. I knew that I could accomplish anything that you put in front of me. So, I sort of just took directives and went along with that, and it was fine for a while. And it even kind of played out in my marriage. And I ended up putting myself in this place of having very little power of my own, not really knowing what I wanted out of life. And it all kind of came crashing down when I was in that master's program. And so during that program, while I was learning more about myself and getting in touch with my inner world, I went through a divorce. I found my footing again as a single mom, and I began to really shed all these everything. I sort of probably went extreme with it, but it felt like I was just throwing the blankets off of my head, just breaking the glass ceiling, busting out of the box, and not worrying about, okay, everyone was like, oh, you're getting a divorce. That was something that society expected me to stay married the rest of my life to someone, no matter what. You're starting your own business when you have these master's degrees. I also have a master's in business administration. I could make 6 figures a year in the corporate world if I wanted to. But, there's all these societal pressures to have security and stability and, do something that's safe, do something that everyone else is doing. Don't you want to, have a 401k and work for the job for 20 years or for 10 years and then switch and whatever. And to me, it took a lot of courage for me to break out of that because that's what I was raised with, right? You work hard, you make money, but you always work for somebody else to do that. And so starting my own business, and then especially as a single mom at the time, I had a good support system, don't get me wrong. And if I didn't, I don't know where I'd be today. But anyway, I think that combined with my formal education, and the fact that I love this stuff. So I am constantly every single day about it. That's kind of put me in the position I am today, and how I feel like I want to share this freedom that I have and this sense of I don't have anxiety or panic attacks anymore, ever. And I don't second guess myself and when I make a decision. And I want to share that with other people.
Yeah. I love that. Kate, are you still with us?
Yep.
One of the things that really sticks out to me about your story, and I know there's a lot there, the fact that you actually have a degree in counseling, I think matters a lot to me as somebody who could seek your advice. And I think it matters a lot to Kate as somebody who has been in this space a lot, to know that there are a lot of people out there who sell a service based on something that they actually don't have that strong of background skills in. Kate,
shit makes me fucking nuts.
Yeah. I thought that would be your response.
Oh, it's such a trigger for me. That's the problem with business coaches. Don't hire a damn business coach if they've never owned a business. Like, seriously. Like, really think about that. And I'll be honest, like, all the way up until I met Sparks, if you would have asked me, even now, what do you think of life coaches? I'd have tell you they're the slimiest bastards on the face of the earth. They are slimier than car salesmen. Because what they do is if they don't have a counseling background, in my opinion, they shouldn't be life coaching you. For a variety of reasons. One, a lot of people go into counseling and psychology to better understand their own brain and their own childhood. It just is what it is. It's the way that it works. And so there are really tried and true tactics of being a counselor. And the shit that people tell Sparks, now Sparks and I don't talk about the very deep personal pieces of our clients. There are things that she will say, this is affecting this person, and when you interact with them, you need to engage this way versus this way, which is super helpful for me because that allows me to have a very different relationship with them and to understand, like, okay, so-and-so will never interact with me on platform A. They'll only interact with me on platform B, and here's why, right? And so my problem with life coaches and other business coaches is that if they don't come from a counseling background, they shouldn't be talking you off the ledge of life because they don't know shit about how to actually talk to you. And all these people that created their own coaching programs for you to then take their coaching program to become a life coach, bullshit also. If your business coach has never owned a business and they're just trying to build a coaching business out of their first company, don't hire them. Don't hire them because they don't know shit about the path that you're walking in. Oh my God, that stuff fires me up. So when Sparks and I began working together, that was part of the reason that I was like, yep, not only are you for me, A, because you talk me down, you teach me how to work with my clients, you teach me how to be a better person every single day, but also because I needed somebody that had a counseling background, who was a legitimate certified counselor and knew how to engage, interact, and connect with people on a platform where they were able to communicate, but they also felt validated and find their own path. Because the difference between Sparks and I is I tell you how you should do it. So if you want to be successful, here are the things that I suggest that you do in order to hit your goal. Sparks has a really kick-ass way of helping you discover the right answer. So that's why we also complement really well. And so our phone calls with clients look night and day.
Yeah.
But it's needed.
I think that balance is so helpful for you guys. And I mean, you can see it in the following that you guys have in your groups. The other reason why I love it is because, Kate, you and I have talked before about how, like, you got to a point where pre-Be Badass and Brilliant, you were at a space where you felt like your mindset wasn't right because the strengths that Rachael has, you could kind of see a need for in a space that you were building. And so, so now that you guys have partnered, it's allowed you to stay on track with what you know are your strengths and gives you that positive mindset.
Right. Well, I think it lessens the burnout mode, right?
Yep.
Like, you're not trying to wear 3 hats. I'm wearing 1 hat. I am in sales, so I can do what I love. I love selling to people. I love finding out their pain points, what I can do to bring value to their life and hack the shit out of what they're doing. I love that piece of it. And I get to work with the same people on a regular basis to increase their revenue. Like, I talk on here a lot about Jen Long, right? Because
Jen Long is in upstate New York. She's a single mom, 3 or 4 kids. She hand paints these pallet signs. And the first time that I gave her like pricing instructions on leveling her pricing up, she came back to me immediately and was like, no, you're wrong. That's not right. And I panicked inside and I was like, shit, did I screw up? Like, I mean, I know that works, but did I screw up? And then just the other day she posted that she's about to have her second highest revenue generating month ever. And I was like, yes, I was not wrong. And I said to her, I was like, I commented like in my comment, like I almost panicked. I was panicking about what I had said to you because I started to worry, like, did I steer you wrong? And I know that she relies on that revenue and that income to sustain her family every month, right? She's a single mom. She doesn't have a choice. So, you know, I think that there's a piece of that allows, you know, in working with Sparks, and I'm not a big fan of partnerships. If you follow me at all, I would say the only ship that never sails is a partnership.
Yep.
I don't recommend doing it. But Sparks and I have both owned several companies. We've been in business for a really long time. And it takes a really special person like Sparks to work with someone like me. No one else in the world would ever want to partner with me because I make my own decisions. I make shit happen when I want to do it, and that's it. And I don't ask for your feedback. I don't give a shit if anybody likes it. So in working with Sparks, I've had to kind of pull back a little bit and say, like, I call her all the time. I call her almost every day, and she'll answer, and we'll talk, and da-da-da-da. And then, you know, I'll be like, is this good? Are you all right with this? How does this play out for you? But I'm not an easy person to work with, which is why I don't typically take it.
Well, I know that about you, Kate. I also know that when you first started talking to me about Be Badass and Brilliant being a thing, and you were like, so Rachel and I are going to like work together and do this thing, and I'm like, so it's a partnership. And you were like, no, it's not a partnership. We're just working together as co-owners. I was like, it's a partnership.
Not a partnership, Joey. Don't put those toxic words into my life.
It's a semantic thing.
It is. Yeah, it is. So I know that a lot of the people who are listening right now are either already kind of know about Be Badass and Brilliant or maybe even in your special group B3 Core, but can you guys talk a little bit more about what exactly it is that you're doing and who the right buyer is for Be Badass and Brilliant?
Go Sparks.
Yeah. So we are working with individuals who are either starting their own businesses, they've been in business for a little while and they want to up-level it, or are in the corporate space and want to increase their leadership and networking skills. I think the best thing about B3 Core is that you get the support on the business end from Kate and on the networking side. And then the leadership development and the mindset from myself. And then you also get the community of people who are kicking ass and taking names every day in their business and in their life. And you have that influence. We've seen so many posts in our group already that the members of the group have commented and been really helpful, and people have connected on that platform, and it's made a difference in lives. And so it's become something greater than just what Kate and I can offer just in the community alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Go ahead, Kate.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I was reading comments.
Oh, you're good.
You know, I think that our focus for B3 Core is to hack the shit out of the way people are doing things. And some of the things that I love about what Sparks does is, and I talk about this when I talk to potential clients coming in, is that Sparks is super consistent. So you can expect a video from her every week coming into B3 Core. I am not consistent, so you can expect that once a month there's going to be 6 videos that drop in, and I'm like, yep, go get those. But Sparks also brings to the table this whole level of self-awareness and mindfulness, but mindfulness really at the root. Like, there's sort of this, like, hippy-dippy shit right now of, like, oh, be mindful. Okay, well, be mindful, but follow through on being mindful. So if you notice that your community has a shit ton of trash in it, start picking it up. Like, don't just be the person that's like, oh man, I noticed we had a lot of trash, and then leave it at that. No, like, go pick it up. Set the example for others, right? Like, I saw a lady the other day walk past this styrofoam bowl on the ground, and finally I was like, are you gonna pick that up? Because if you're not, I'm going to. But are you gonna pick it up? Like, it's your bowl, you know? Like, so there's a space of being mindful, but there's also a space of taking action, which is this really cool place that Sparks brings to the table. And some of the videos that I love and talk to clients about all the time are, making decisions from a place of love and without fear. Because 90% of the time, people are running around making decisions from a place of fear and not from a place of love, and from I don't know, Sparks, what's the word?
Self-doubt?
Yeah, I know where I'm going.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But like a lot of the problems we have in our society right now are because people are making a decision from a place of fear. And so that's such a powerful lesson for people to get. And I feel like I'm a lot more vocal just in life in general. So you see a lot more of the business side of B3 Core if you follow us on social media. But the stuff that Sparks brings to the table is, in my opinion, the true game changer, because it gets people thinking outside of themselves, but also to become like intuitively trusting themselves and to understand the relationships with the people around them in ways that they never did before. And that, to me, is the true powerful piece of B3 Core. Sparks, break down for us a little bit in regards to, like, the birth chart and the emotional therapy, because I think all of that's, like, really important shit, too.
Okay, so I'll start with the emotional stuff, because that's primarily what I do in B3 Core. Right now, I haven't broke into the birth chart reading aspect of it yet, but I really should. Like, that would be a great addition. But so the emotional piece, like all of our emotions become like a base for the thoughts that we have. If you picture like you plant a seed, that seed is an emotion. And then if it sprouts a tree with a whole bunch of branches and leaves, those are your thoughts. And so all of your thoughts are rooted in some emotion. And, sometimes we can go down this path of listening to our thoughts all day long and thinking that they're all true, and that's a mistake, because we just have thoughts based on whatever emotions are there. And sometimes these emotions get implanted within our body and memory, so our subconscious mind, basically, when we're children, between primarily the ages of 0 and 6, when we're walking around in the equivalent of a hypnotic state. And when you're walking around in that state, anything that happens around you, because you don't have a conscious filter to decide if it's bad or good, gets impressioned into your subconscious, and those impressions end up being the emotional roots that drive your thinking as a growing child, a young adult, a teenager, a teenager, young adult, and then as an adult. And so we have this automatic behavior, which, we want some of our behaviors to be automatic, right? We don't want to think about driving to work or brushing our teeth and those kinds of things. But when you have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those, 80 to 90% are habitual. And of that 80 to 90% of habitual thoughts are, about 80% to 90% of those are negative in nature. What's driving the bus in your life? You're not aware of this unless you choose to be. And so when we get to the root, which is the emotion, and you start to be conscious of your everyday emotions now, you can change that. You can shift it. But until you decide to be aware, which is what Kate was referring to as mindfulness, until you decide to be aware of what you're feeling and how that's affecting your thoughts, then you're going to continue to operate from this space that you didn't even create. That was created for you.
So
go ahead.
No, finish your thought. I just want to follow up when you're done.
I was going to switch over into birth charts, so now's a good time to interrupt me.
No, I was just going to say that I love that, and some comments that are coming in that are really kind of supporting what you're saying. So thanks, Carol and Cheryl, for those. But I wanted to, I was talking to Kate about something, and she was like, Joe, you need to talk to Sparks about this. So I want to take this opportunity to connect what you just said to an experience that I've been having recently.
Okay.
So as a lot of the viewers here probably know, my law firm works a lot with women, and because I am younger, a lot of my leads and clients tend to be older than me, but not all the time. And I'm a middle child, and the 3 siblings that are older than me are all women. And so I've kind of got this combination of being a peacemaker, but also deferring to older women, because that was kind of the way that I was raised with my sisters. And it's created this interesting relationship, which I think in a lot of ways allows me to thrive in this space. But something that I've noticed is that if I get on a sales call with something where probably it's not the best fit, but maybe, it could still be a good, fit for my legal services, helping protections there. If I have like a discovery call and it's with an older woman and she starts to get a little defensive about what I'm saying, or tell me that maybe question what I'm telling her, kind of in a similar way of kind of where Kate got nervous about what she was saying to Jen. I've noticed that as soon as that happens, I can feel a lack of confidence on my end because of that interplay.
So it's like a trigger point for you.
Yeah. So does that kind of make sense with what you just said as an example?
Yeah. Because somewhere along the way you picked up the idea that older women are more knowledgeable than you are. They're more competent than you are. I mean, imagine being 2 and 3 years old and watching them run and jump and skip rope, and you can't do any of that yet. I mean, just in general. Like, they are automatically more competent. And there's 3 of them.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But I think that it's particularly important to understand those types of mindset triggers when you are a business owner, because whether it's sales or follow-up or someone leaves a bad review on Facebook or Yelp or something, or on your Etsy page, your response to those things happening, a lot of times it's people put a lot in like Facebook groups. Oh my gosh, this thing just happened. How do you guys think I should have responded? Or how do you guys think I should respond?
Oh my God, get out of those.
And yeah, you should get out of those in general. But that implies that there's a correct way of responding without understanding that your mindset impacts the way that you would respond to those types of situations.
I love that you said that, Joey. I'm going to stop you really quick because I do not like certain words in like our vocabulary, and should is one of them, right is one of them, and wrong is one of them. I don't, and when this is coming down to the work that I do. So, I mean, there are obviously like, you can't break the law and stuff like that. There's right and wrong ways to do things. But when we're talking about ourselves and taking action, like when it comes to you, there's no right and wrong way according to other people. And there's no you should or should not do whatever other people tell you kind of thing. Like that, there's none of that, like in real life, quote unquote. Does that make any sense?
No, I think that makes total sense. So going back to my example, based on kind of what we talked about, and what Kate kind of said about follow through, if I've identified that part of who I am as a business owner and that tendency to get to just defer to the customer in that type of a situation, is there a recommendation on your end of how I should take action on that, or add some type of a follow-up to just being mindful?
So for you personally?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are aware of it. So that's the first step. And then whenever that trigger does come up, my advice to you, if you're on the phone and someone's getting defensive, like the best thing you can do in that moment would be to put your hand on your heart. So it connects you to that heart space. So it will calm you down. Start to breathe a little bit slower and deeper. Okay. You don't have to like if you're on the phone with somebody, obviously you're not going to be able to stop and do this for a really long time. But just breathe into your heart space, and then that'll calm you down in the moment. And then you can respond. So what your response isn't about, if you feel like you're getting defensive, don't respond with anything like a statement. So ask questions and figure out where they're coming from. Because you're triggered right now, so making comments probably won't support you. It may. But you can say something like, okay, I hear that. Okay, I can hear that something didn't quite click with you. Can you help me understand a little bit more where you're coming from? Or something like that.
Okay. No, I love that, and I'm going to start doing that definitely. And I ask that partly because I selfishly wanted some help there, but also because I know that that's the type of issue that people have in your groups, and I want them to see like a real example of how valuable this community and this business that you guys are growing really is for business owners in this space.
Well, and I think that I'm going to jet in for a second, but perception versus reality, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things, I went to this really stupid, in my opinion, long 3-day conference a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a total waste of space, honestly. But I did learn some things now a couple of years later, and I look back on it, and one of them is perception versus reality. And how many things that we spend our time perceiving what someone's intention is, what their expectation is, what their goal is in our lives, and we often take this, in all honesty, if you get down to the root of it, we take a victimized approach. So we're constantly spending our time reacting to things versus being proactive in situations. Mm-hmm. And instead of being solution driven, we're constantly reacting to people all the time. And in all honesty, I catch myself doing it to my husband. I catch myself doing it to my kids. And in working with Sparks has totally changed the way that I even parent my kids. So a lot of times now, I talk through them with something. I'm like, listen, when you behave this way, it makes me feel like, and what I expect of you is this. I hear what you're feeling is that, and here are 3 or 4 appropriate responses that you can do versus what you're doing now. And we literally have now created these rote conversations with my 7-year-old, and I've seen a drastic, which my 7-year-old is a tantrum throwing machine, up until about 6 months, probably 3 months ago. Even in Florida, he threw a major tantrum. That was the last big tantrum we've had. But that's the thing about learning from Sparks is that you get to inject her lessons into all aspects of your life. Where my lessons only inject in one aspect of your life, which is your revenue, which is key, don't get me wrong. But the space that Sparks plays is such a bigger piece that goes so much wider throughout your life. It's the way you interact with your mom, the way you interact with your dad, it's the way you interact with your brother, your worst client, your best client. All of those things play a role. And, one of the things that, Joey, I'm going to throw you out on the, under the bus here for a minute, but a conversation that Joey and I have on a regular basis is that he always says, well, so-and-so is still a nice person.
Yep.
And I fucking hate nice. I don't want to raise nice kids. I want to raise kind kids. I don't give a shit if my kids are nice. I want you to be kind, right? And so nice, and Sparks I'm going to turn it back over to Sparks here in a minute because nice is something that she and I inadvertently talk about in regards to just life and things, and we've had many conversations about it. But nice is not a real emotion, adjective, or anything. It means nothing. It's a mask for a root behavior. And we use nice as a way to excuse people's shitty behavior when they're shitty to us. And we say things like, oh, but she's a nice person. I mean, she was really shitty to me, but she's a nice person. Mm-hmm. That's not real life. Ugh. Break it down, Sparks.
Yeah, so nice can be one of the best tools for manipulation, right? And that's what Kate was just talking about. We can use language any way we want to. We can be nice, we can be as sweet as sugar to somebody and completely run them into the ground. The whole time we're being nice, they are suffering. And we know it because language hides our true emotion, our true intention. So when I use my language in a way to dangle a carrot in front of your face and you chase that carrot off a cliff, I know the entire time what I'm doing. So nice can be, being cordial, having basic manners and being courteous to people, that's what acquaintances do. That's what we do with our customers and clients that we aren't fully invested with, right? Yep. In B3 Core, we are kind to our clients, and some of the things we say to them aren't necessarily considered to be nice. And you know what? They appreciate it.
Yeah, and I love that because I think that distinction plays really well with you, Kate. I know that you have a group of people who aren't the biggest fans of you, but I always tell people that even though Kate might tell you things that upset you about you and your business, she really is saying it from a place of wanting to help your business. And I'm really glad that you pushed me under the bus here, Kate, because I'm learning how important this is. Because when you're in business, you very quickly have the opportunity to create relationships with other business owners. And making this distinction between kind and nice as early as possible allows you to keep a positive mindset, allows you to separate, if somebody is quote unquote nice, but really kind of taking away from your bottom line, like is acting in such a way where they're really just either trying to get you to undervalue yourself or your business. That's when that toxicity really comes into play.
Well, and you want to make sure that you're running in a space where, you're aware of how people really make you feel. So if you're interacting with somebody and every time you're off the phone with them, you feel defensive, start setting boundaries in that conversation about how that conversation is going to go. And be aware that there are a lot of really shitty, toxic people out there. They just are. It's not their fault. It's because of the way that their childhood was, the perception they have, it's the inner voice that they have. Sparks broke it down for me the other day about somebody in my life that has a very hateful inner voice. And that changed the whole game. And so now I see things very differently than I saw a week ago. And even just interactions and the way people interact and things that roll around. But the place of it is that not everybody in business that you're going to run across is out for you to have success. And the quicker you have haters and the quicker you have people that can't stand you is the day that you know you're doing something right. Because business and sales is about invoking emotion in other people. That's what a sale is. If you are a good salesman, it means that you're really good at evoking emotion in others. And if you're just flatline and you're mediocring, like puttering along, you're clearly not hitting your revenue goals. That's obvious because you're not invoking emotion. So people are either going to love you or they're going to hate you. Kim Kardashian would not be where she is if everybody loved her. There would be no Kim Kardashian. People wouldn't know shit about who she is. Same with Britney Spears. None of those people would exist. But they have major multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar brands because people love to hate people that are succeeding. And so you'll start hitting your revenue goals and you'll start to see friends like wilter and die off the grid, or they'll be real shitty to you. Be aware of that and be like, yep, that person's a dick. It is what it is. Boom. Cut that toxicity out and get used to cutting it out quickly. Yeah.
And like, it's interesting. I'm just starting now to realize that we talk a lot about toxicity, Kate, and this whole kind over nice discussion. And in some ways, it sounds like it's a new kind of light bulb moment for business owners. But this is just another way of saying, for instance, like when couples get married, that like they need to like go to bed happy with each other and like air out any fights. And this idea of like if there's stuff brewing, voice what your concerns are over just trying to be the nice person in the situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think nice is a quick way to become a victim.
Yep.
Oh, I was nice to so-and-so and they took advantage of me. That's on you. Like you let them make you a victim. Situations. Sorry, did I lose you guys?
No, I'm here.
Back? I had a phone call come in. I don't typically find myself in a lot of situations where I really feel like the victim. A, because I don't allow people to put me in that place. And you're allowing somebody to put you in that place. You're allowing them to force you to become a victim. So you're the only one that gets to control whether you're a victim or whether you're not.
Yeah.
And I don't like living in a victim mentality, so I don't. Sparks, I want you to touch on birth charts because let me tell you guys, if you have not had your birth chart done, you have to have Sparks for your birth chart. She does charge for it, but it's magical, and you really got to make it happen because it is a game changer in the way that you see the people in your life, your spouse, your children, your mother. It's so powerful. Sparks, go.
Okay, yeah. So by looking at your birth chart, what you need to have in order to have a birth chart drawn up is your date of birth, your time of birth, and the city you were born in. And using that information, we can draw up a chart and it'll show not only where your sun sign is. So a birth chart is astrology. And like, for example, my sun sign is Libra. So when I meet somebody, I might say I'm a Libra. But to be honest, I have a whole bunch of planets in Libra. So I'm super Libra, but also they sit in the Capricorn house. So I'm like a very grounded and ambitious diplomatic peacemaker. It's kind of interesting, but you can look at your chart and there are a lot of things that you can tell from it. It can tell us, what people's first impression of you is, what you should be doing in terms of where you should be focusing your efforts. It has your, life purpose on there. It's your north node. We can look at where that's positioned, what sign and what house it's in, and even at what degree it is, and see what direction you're supposed to be going in this lifetime. So like for me, for example, mine's in Cancer. Cancer is the sign that rules over emotion. And in this lifetime, I am supposed to be diving into not only my own emotions, but since I have a very public chart, my chart is in the public side of the wheel, then I am supposed to be helping others with that same thing, which is what I'm doing now, which explains why I feel so in harmony with my life. And so that's just a couple of examples. I can take your chart and family members. It can be your child. It can be your spouse. It can be your parent, and put them together and figure out why you have certain dynamics with that person that you do. Or I can read someone else's chart, if, with their permission, of course, and share that information with you, and see why, you guys are acting that way together, for example.
Sparks, tell them about our chart.
Okay, so Kate and I have some really interesting charts because we have what's called a stellium, where you have 3 or more planets in one house. And I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you imagine, like, Kate has like 6 planets clustered together in Sagittarius and Capricorn. And they are like in her 3rd house of communication and networking. And so it's almost every chart. So if you think there's like 12 planets or so in the birth chart, almost all of hers are in the first 3 houses. So they're all concentrated in one area, which means she's very specifically focused on one aspect of her life, right? This is what makes her so focused and driven in the direction that she is. And then my chart is the same way, except it's in a different spot in the chart, but, and it's a little more spread out than hers, but not a lot. And so we both have stelliums, which not everybody has in their chart. And mine is situated in this very public / emotional / peacemaker area of the chart. So you have Kate down here, who's a ambitious go-getter, communicator, and networker. Plus she's like a living GPS, right? Because of where her planets are. She can make her way around any geographical area. Just give her a minute, right? She doesn't need a Google map. And her chart shows that. And then my chart, it reflects our very straight focus. I know Kate will say sometimes, like, I'm really good at what I'm really good at, but then other stuff, forget it. Mm-hmm. And her chart that. And my chart kind of reflects that too with me, because I'm like, yeah, I'm good at what I'm good at, but there are things I'm just not even going to go there.
I think that's so interesting. And we're getting some comments from Andrea Hood, Misty Henry, and Callie Sumsky that all want some chart readings.
Dude, you guys, it's incredible. I had, when we were in Florida, we sat around and drank wine, and it was glorious. And Sparks and my husband and my kids, and it just gives you it's like to a T. It's creepy how much it defines out. Like, you're giving bare bones information, and yet she's able to legit tell me organic, true content about my kids that, like, depicts their personalities, the way they interact and engage. It's insane. And same with my spouse, which really helps us to even better understand each other. And when I say I have no other skill sets, it's very few and far between. I have been known to almost stick a knife into an electrical outlet to get paint out of it. So I'm not kidding around when I say, I definitely am, in a whole other ball game when I'm out, living life. But, it's with that birth chart that really helps Sparks and I to figure out, wow, we are on target. We are meant to be in this space together. And Sparks and I met at random. I was going out to Columbia, Missouri, my very first time. to throw out our networking organization. And that's what I always tell people. I'm like, just go. Just show up. You never know who the universe is going to align for you. And we really didn't become good friends until, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I mean, we were interacting and texting and shit, and she was running this Nexus chapter in Colombia for me, but, like, we still weren't really good friends until about a year ago. So, you know, in that space, I mean, we know each other 3 years, but it's not been all that long, maybe 18 months. But, you know, the universe aligns in all the ways that it should, as it should, you know, which I think is really powerful and super cool and really is kind of a game changer in regards to how we interact and engage.
Kate, some people are saying that they don't want to wait until January to get these birth charts. Do they have any options with you guys to get them sooner?
They do. Sorry, I just sneezed. Hold on.
Bless you.
I'm like sneezing it out over here. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, they can, Sparks has got a whole package on that, so we can, just message us or put a 1 in the comments. Share this with somebody else that you'd love to, share this video podcast that you think would be a good fit with on your page. And, let us know, reach out to us, reach out to Sparks, and, we can definitely get your chart read. It makes a huge difference in the way that you engage and interact and think about your life and your relationship and your business. And, that's the cool thing about running with Sparks is that it's an element that's not out there. And there are a shit ton of people I see them in these freaking groups all the time. It's like, hey, I'm a business coach and a life coach, and I'll also coach you on how to get up every day. All right, cool, awesome. What makes you qualify to do that? And so before you hire some of these people, really think about, like, what is your $2,500 investment really going to get you? And why does that person have to charge you $2,500 to get to that space? Like, what are you getting for that? Because people are getting a hell of a lot more for a hell of a lot less with Sparks. It's not making any less of an impact. In fact, I think it's making more of an impact, but they're able to afford it. Like, don't invest in something that's going to just squeeze the life out of you in a way that you can't make that space back.
Yeah,
and make sure that who you're investing in really has grit behind what they're talking about.
So like Kate said, if you are interested in getting a birth chart done for you or reading, press 1 in the comments, and Kate or Rachel will follow up. If I know that there are a handful of you that are already in Be Badass and Brilliant, and you guys already are kind of seeing what Kate and Rachel are doing firsthand. If you're in that group and you've been enjoying it, put number 2 in the comments, just so people can see. I know because I'm in those groups that I can see people who are really, really enjoying it. But it'd be great to kind of have that trail in the comments from those of you guys who I see commenting.
Yeah, no, it's a good space. It's not like other Facebook groups, right? Like, people aren't going in there bitching 24/7. And if you don't realize it, if you're spending a shit ton of time in Facebook groups trying to learn from other people about how to grow your business, you're actually wasting a shit ton of time, because think about how much time all of those people have to sit in these Facebook groups and give you information that isn't backed by anything other than they just like to hear themselves talk. And people are organically competitive, and they're waking up offended every day. So they're waking up, getting out of bed, and already they're offended. Mm-hmm. And so, I notice it all the time. Like, I'll post a status, and people will comment things like, my life is harder. It's basically what they're saying. So I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, my life is harder. No, my life is harder. No, my life is harder. Don't run with that. Like, shut that shit out. These Facebook groups, they play a role, but in a lot of ways, if you are a solopreneur building a craft, hand making something, doing something out of your basement, and you're running in these big Facebook groups of 30,000 other crafters, get out of them. Get away from those people as quickly as possible, because it's not bringing anything but toxicity into your business. Whereas in our B3 Core group, we talk a lot about sales, we post videos, we have a lot of conversation, we celebrate the highs, and we, embrace the lows with our clients, and they embrace each other, which is super cool.
I love it. We don't have a lot of time left. We've got about 8-10 minutes left. Kate, is it all right with you if we talk about funnels, which is something that we were talking about before we hit the live button?
Yes. I'm fine with it. People probably won't like my answer, but...
No, I think that it's important to get into. So, can you provide some context for kind of why we even started talking about funnels in the first place?
Oh man, I don't know. Why did we start talking about funnels?
So I think it was because in addition to Rachel's understanding of mindset and coaching, she also had this background of skills in terms of kind of virtual business ownership. Like when
Oh yeah, Sparks is the systems.
Yep.
Sparks is all the system part. I have none of the systems in my brain. And if you try to get in my car on a Tuesday, you will very quickly see that I have no systems of organizing, no systems of any of those things. So Sparks is the whole back office, which would have taken me much longer, would have been a lot less organized than what she's created. So I always tell people, I'm like, listen, if you want to talk about what's going on with the membership login, I always redirect them directly over to Sparks because I have no control over that space. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that and you know what, I'll be honest, I'm probably a little jaded just in general. We probably have not gone full speed in the ClickFunnels world. Sparks, would you say we've done it full speed?
No, but we're using it really well with our existing members. And it's a key tool.
It's true. It plays a role in that. You know, I see a lot of these big groups. There's a ClickFunnels official group on Facebook. And somebody posted the other day, like, who on here is making money using your ClickFunnels? And there was like 2 people, and they were product-based people. And it was like a weird, like, I don't know, one was like a micro-cloth cleaner for your phone. That guy was using a ClickFunnels to sell 10,000 micro-cloths a month or whatever, right? And so some of it has a leverage. But if you guys aren't familiar with ClickFunnels, basically the idea and the concept is that you and Sparks, you know, feel free to interrupt me if you think I'm wrong. You offer a free product, and then that gets people like engaged with your content, and then you offer a couple more free products, and then maybe you offer a paid product, and then the goal is that they will click funnel themselves right through to engagement in a paid space with you. Is that a good?
Yep.
They can't see you nod your head, so you have to say yes.
You collect their email. Yeah, you collect their email, and then you just continue to engage with them by email after that.
And this is kind of become if you start a business, if you start especially a virtual business, and you Google, you know, marketing, this is one of the first things that you're told to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And Kate, I know that you've built a lot of successful businesses without this. Can you talk a little bit about why you're so hesitant to depend on that?
Well, I mean, I don't think that there is a lot of room to be dependent on a ClickFunnels. I think that a lot of people think that online business means Insta online sales. And I think in a lot of ways, the ClickFunnels quote unquote business is just like SEO. I think SEO is bullshit. You got to look at where is your buyer interacting to find you. If your buyer is not going into Google to search for you, then they're never going to find you, right? They're never going to find you because they're not Googling for you if you've spent all of your money on Google. Yep. I think that, you know, when we base ourselves on the fact that people are minions and that they're going to, listen, well, I go 2 rounds, right? So like, if you were to walk into Target and all of the products and items were sitting in boxes on the floor, you would turn around and walk out because you would have no idea where to start or where to go. So as business owners, it's our job to teach our clients how to engage, interact, and how to walk through the maze of what it looks like to be our buyer. And if you go to Target, Target is set up very specifically. I use Target as an example all the time. They are set up very specifically for the way that they want their buyers to interact with them, which is exactly what I set up for my clients. That's how we create long-term sales, consistent customer service cycles. We really know who your buyer is, all of that space, right? So when we talk about this passive income, if I see another freaking webinar for passive income, I swear my head is going to spin off my effing body. Like, I literally cannot take it. There is no passive income. Like, that's a bullshit-ass excuse. It's another way that people are trying to get your freaking money for something that you don't have money to give for. And so SEO, this huge amount of money. Now, we don't pay a lot of money for ClickFunnels. We pay $97 a month. In the big scheme of life, that's good for us to use it in the way that we're using it. However, I don't think slapping up a ClickFunnels website and expecting people to just buy your engage with your free content to then buy without ever actually talking to you is ever going to close a sale. I don't personally think that. Now, I've not seen it. Sparks and I have not, in all honesty, we've not full-fledged pushed through that. We were at 62 clients in 12 weeks in B3 Core. And, 62 clients in 11 weeks, right? We are $2,600 from being a $10,000 a month recurring income company. And that does not mean that our clients are dollar amounts to us in any way, shape, or form. But my goal was 10 grand in 12 weeks. I'm not going to hit it. Hopefully I'll hit 10 grand in 16 weeks. But that also is what Sparks and I need to be able to keep going at the speed that we're going at. We need that revenue to be hit for us to be able to do what we do best and to not be stressing about money. Because if I'm stressing about money, I'm looking for side jobs. I'm looking for, my head is not in a good space. And so when you guys get into these things and you start looking at things like ClickFunnels, really think about where is my buyer finding me? And if she's not finding you through some of these other avenues like SEO or ClickFunnels, then don't spend thousands of dollars trying to get it to that space. I look at SEO like something that somebody one day was like, ooh, what else can we tell people that they won't ever effing understand that they absolutely have to have? So, quote unquote, but we're going to charge them a shit ton of money for it, and that's what's going to get them to the next place.
Yeah, I just think this is such an important topic because I've been there and I've seen a lot of other businesses be in a situation where they are told by loud people online that they need to set up landing pages and ClickFunnels as foundational parts of revenue generation. And I can't say as a business owner that is completely a bad use of your time and money, but I have learned, because I've gone through it both in my current business and in my past business ventures, that cannot be a foundational piece of what you do. If you're
go ahead first.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, you still have to have that personal touch. Like some people are funnels where they offer a free product, but then you apply to speak with them directly, or they do videos of themselves that are pretty raw and real. And I think if you can do that just to generate leads and to get people on the phone with you, that's a completely different ballgame than trying to get them to purchase from behind a screen.
Right. Yep. No, I totally agree. And Sparks and I we talk with everybody that comes into our program. There isn't anybody that's just going on our website and signing up. We're not even telling you in an instant message like, hey, just go on and sign up. We're like, let's grab a phone call. Let's talk about where you're at. Let's connect and see if this is a good fit for you. Because we don't want people in that aren't coachable, right? And the few people that have dropped out are because they weren't coachable. Not to be an asshole, but they weren't coachable. They either didn't want to hear it or they weren't ready.
Yeah, they just weren't ready, yeah.
Yep.
And so the root of not wanting to hear it, I guess, is not being ready. But those that are and that are coachable and that are ready to set their shit up are seeing huge increases both in their self-development, their soul development, which is what we like to call it, their leadership skills, and their actual revenue, and even just the foundations of the way that they're looking at their business. I harp about it all the time. If you don't know your freaking target market, you are the blind leading the blind. You have no idea what you're doing in your business. And if you only know 2 to 3 characteristics, stop. Because you're wasting a shit ton of money trying to sell to 15 different people instead of trying to sell to one. It just makes a huge impact in the way that you interact in your company. And once people are like, oh my God, I've never done this before, this is such a game changer. And it flips that whole space over.
Love it. We should be wrapping up soon, you guys. But in the next couple of minutes, Kate, do you want to talk about IgniteCon?
Yeah. And if anybody wants to, anybody that's following or watching right now and hasn't engaged with Joey, Sparks, or myself, Joey, we haven't talked a lot about what you've got going on right now either, but, if you're not protecting your branding, once you get to a point that branding matters, because in my book, branding doesn't matter initially, but once you get to a point where branding matters, you need to be grabbing a phone call with Joey. If you are making, 7 to 10 grand a month, you need to be talking with Joey, because we need to figure out and make sure that your brand is protected so that somebody across the state lines can't pop up a business and confuse your brand with their brand.
Yep. It goes back to what you
I'm
said
not talking
earlier,
about-
Kate. Being proactive instead of reactive in the legal space is so important.
It's huge. It's a
Yeah.
game changer,
Yep.
you know? So if you want to engage with Joey or Sparks or myself, drop us a little note. Cheryl LeMay, I'll be calling you this afternoon, so we'll get that rocking and rolling. But yeah, so we're doing Ignite Your Inner Badass conference in February. Tickets are $379 with lunch or $297 without. It starts January 31st, runs through February 2nd for general admission and intensive on if you stay. If you do a VIP, then we're gonna go out to dinner. We're gonna Friday night and do like a full day intensive on Saturday. Super excited about it. You know, it's a very different approach on a business geared conference. This one's gonna be more business geared. We'll have a later one in 2018, a later one that's gonna be much more focused on the individual, on the soul. But it's really geared for mind, body, spirit in regards to the way that you engage with your business and keeping yourself in the right place. But Sparks is going to teach and I'm going to teach. We're bringing in kick-ass speakers. We'll have some hypnosis. We'll have some art experience. We'll have dream interpretation, body and movement, some nutrition hits that are going to be really great. And it's just a really kick-ass opportunity to connect with people in ways that you wouldn't typically connect.
Love it. I'm so excited for you guys.
In the comments if you want to know about that.
Yep.
Tag a friend.
All right, you guys. Well, that's it for this morning. Thanks to Kate, as always, and Rachel for hopping on. We're going to have Rachel on again because I feel like there's a lot of stuff we can kind of unpack here. But you guys are great. Thanks to those of you who were listening from the beginning and being patient as they figured out the audio stuff. Like Kate said, we're only on episode 3 here, kind of doing things a little bit different with this being an audio show. The audio is a little wonky on our end, but thank you for letting us know when stuff is working. It's super helpful, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Later.